Shut up. What's good, Joe? Can y'all hear me all right? And out with the headphones today. Make sure I disconnect over here too, just in case. I don't want it to kill any of the sound. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Let me know if y'all can hear me. So I want to do this video because the Detroit Pistons continue to roll like they continue to roll. Like um, I've been impressed with this run. And let me be frank. Right? This run has been I'm gonna say it's been legit because sometimes you see a team go on a run and you're like it's full, like this is not gonna be sustainable. But this run feels more like winning because of what you really want to see from a team when you begin to trust them as a winning team, which is they're winning because of their system, their culture. They are executing. They're consistent. They play defense. They're doing the little things throughout the game that really allows you to win. And that's what we're seeing from the Detroit Pistons consistently throughout this stretch. 5 games in a row, 8 of the last 10. The Detroit Pistons are playing the type of basketball that you probably would have hoped for last season. And but that's neither here nor this season. JB Bickerstaff is here. Cade Cunningham is here. Is here in a major way. In a major way. Uh, and a few things I want to talk about this run. The Brooklyn Nets game was a great win because of the score disparity, but how they got to that score disparity, how they got to a blowout win matters far more than that they got to a blowout win. How they got there was by playing according to Detroit's basketball culture. They played hard all the way through. Um, they gave it all they had defensively, got into passing lanes. They were disruptive. They were able to get out in transition. Cade Cunningham consistently pushed the ball. Uh, Defense was there. Jalen Duren started off better defensively than he finished. He tapered off a bit. And I'm not sure why he does the way he does. But, that's not here nor there. The rotation between him and Isaiah Stewart works wonderfully right now. Isaiah Stewart, like I want to say 3 blocks, was an immediate presence on the interior. Jalen consistently was an offensive presence, attempting to attack the other team's big. Nicholas Claxton got to the rim. Um, and then you have guys like Malik Beasley found his jump shot again to Tim Hardaway Jr. When Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley are hitting early, it's going to be a tough night for anybody to beat the Detroit Pistons because when you have those two shooters knocking down their shots, and then you have Cade Cunningham coming down the middle, especially on the break, being aggressive, pushing the pace, it's just hard to contain them. And then when you had guys like Tobias Harris filling in, which I'm really glad people started pointing out that Tobias Harris was never going to continue to struggle. Like he was going to figure it out. You don't you don't play the consistent level of basketball that he's played throughout his career, from Tennessee to the Orlando Magic to the Detroit Pistons to the Los Angeles Clippers, Philadelphia 76ers, and all of a sudden now when you get back to Detroit, you forgot how to shoot. It's more of a rhythm thing. It's more of finding your comfort level, acclimated, and then just getting into your rhythm and knowing how you're going to get yourself there. Tobias Harris has figured out. He's figured out how to get himself there. He's figured out if I go to the post, I can create some opportunities. If I attack off the dribble at angles, trying to get to that little 8 to 10 foot turnaround jump shot over his shoulder, that down, get to the free throw line, and then he gets that 3 ball going. He's figured out how to get himself going. But what that's done is it's completely opened up the court for Cade Cunningham. And you saw in this game, Cade was able to play facilitator early on. Now I appreciate how he was able to uh, turn it on and be the superstar. And that's important too. Because one of the things, and it's not even a critique that I've had of Cade Cunningham, let me make that clear. I'm not critiquing Cade Cunningham on this. I have been looking forward to the progression of what it means to be a superstar. And one of the progressions is knowing how to get to your shots so you can be consistently efficient in being a great offensive threat. And then being able to know when to turn it on against whoever. How to get to those shots so you can be highly efficient and then knowing when to turn it on. And Cade Cunningham did that masterfully in this game. I know they have a back-to-back they're playing later on tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Shout out to my team here. I'm in the Bay Area of California. Golden State Warriors, they're on struggle. This is a game that's going to test them for some other reasons I'm going to talk about at the end of this. But as I say, against the Nets, Cade Cunningham orchestrated this game perfectly. He got everyone involved. He was going Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and then he got Tobias Harris going. He let guys kind of take the initiative also, take the ball out of his hands, which is really important because you have to trust your teammates. Um, you have to trust them to make plays. When they're making the plays, it's okay to play off of them. It's okay to play off of them. And that's what he did basically in the first half. And then in that third quarter, he turned it. And he turned it on in a beautiful way because it wasn't necessarily like he was expending a lot of energy trying to do a lot of one-on-one work. He was turning it on in terms of taking advantage in ways that other guys probably couldn't. He was able to control the ball. He's got large hands. He's able to palm the ball, kind of manipulate it, go to either side of the rim, finish, get and ones, transition threes. Able to turn it on when he needed to and essentially put the game away early in that second half. And then the bench came in. One thing I was excited about with this bench was how they played. And I want to start with my man, Marcus Sasser. I've been a big fan since the University of Houston. When he was going to come into the draft a few years ago, told him to go back. He was ready, I think. He was ready, but they said work on a couple of other things. So he comes back. He gets drafted by the Detroit Pistons. He has a great rookie year, absolutely last year. But this year they've asked him to take on different responsibilities. They wanted him to facilitate more. And that's been a big change for him because he went from the guard coming off the bench who's looking to get up shots, who's looking to knock it down to all of a sudden he's the setup guy. And I think he's really struggled. I'm going to be honest. He's really struggled with figuring out how to be the setup guy and still be himself, which is he's a score first guard. But in this game, I saw and it was beautiful to watch. He did that pullback jumper, pullback three that he gets you with a little side to side action, gets you off kilter, and then he fakes hezzy like he's gonna go by you. He pulls it back, and that separation he gets on that is just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. The only other player who does that on this team with as much proficiency is Cade Cunningham. I've always said I think Marcus Sasser has the biggest bag on this team outside of Cade Cunningham. He's the second best shot creator on this team. Jaden Ivey is a close second, third, but Marcus Sasser's bag is ridiculous. And I've been really, really adamant about I want to get back into his bag. I want to see Marcus Sasser get back to being the scorer he was last year while still being able to facilitate. And that's something early in his career. I think it's going to bode extremely well for him in the long term. I think he's going to have a long career as a either a backup guard or that Peyton Pritchard type where like you're almost like, could he start? Could he start? I think if he was on a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, be like a couple years, right, where he's playing next to a star guard and he's that facilitating scorer, kind of Chauncey Billups-esque guard, right? Chauncey took a while to figure out how to play his first lead guard style and be a facilitator of a winning team. I would love to see Marcus Sasser have a similar arch. I would love to see him find that balance in this season of how to get guys involved and be that takeover scorer. So it was great to see that from him. He got going and then he just kept going. He just kept going. And I love the last couple of games. He's always had that dog. Now you could tell, man, he has a certain edge to him where he's just like, I know it's YouTube, but he's just like, man, F y'all, man. F everybody you put in front of me. Everybody you put in front of me, I'm gonna be a problem for them. The last game, folks was getting frustrated with him. They were getting frustrated. It was Portland, Shaden Sharp was kicking the ball out from under him, just trying to like, man, forget you too. Like when Marcus Sasser had that edge, he was just like, right now, I'm so pissed that I'm in this role that I don't get to shoot as much. That I'm just everybody, I'm getting everybody. And I remember, quick side note, I used to play, some community college ball out here in California. If you don't know anything about the junior college, community college, basically it's like a bunch of D1 players who didn't have grades. And they come for a year or two to kind of learn how to play, at least the program I was at. We had 6'10" guys who could touch the top of the backboard, shoot threes. It was crazy. But it's to say that Sasser is probably going to get some. Maybe I think so too. I think so too. I think we're also going to see some more Cade and Sasser run. I think probably in the second half of the season. If Sasser can this up, find that consistency with the shot again, because he still has so much more to go in his bag. He still has. We still haven't seen the floater game. We still haven't seen that pull up game yet. We get to that little 15-foot, putting his defender in jail off the pick and roll up. He's got a whole lot more to keep expanding. And I think when he does, he becomes more consistent with the facilitate and the shot creation. I think we're going to start seeing him with Cade more. And considering how this trade deadline might pan out, who knows? But it's to say, I used to play some community college. I walked on, and I'm playing against three others that were recruited heavily. Two dudes out of Texas, one dude out of more like Central California, right? And so I'm coming in there, and I'm like, I know I'm just as good, better than all these cats, right? But the coach is like, it's real political once you get to the college level. Like it's mad political, where sometimes coaches are getting kickbacks to develop guys. And it's kind of a thing where, hang on, it has a third shooter that K can rely on, Bees and Tim Hardaway Jr. Yep. No, and that's straight up. Sasser is a cold-blooded shooter. Cold-blooded shooter. And when I say cold, I mean, when we see Sasser get back into his game fully, we're going to see the dude who's going to start dropping 20-point games, 30-point games off the bench and closing out games. That's his arch. That's his arch that I think he's going to hit. But it's to say, I remember I was playing the first half of the season with this coach. Coach wasn't giving me any burn. He wasn't even looking at me, like, for real. He wasn't even looking at me. And after a while, I was just getting pissed. And then I got to a point where I was just like, you know what? Hey, bet. You know what? I'm just going to hoop. I'm just going to have fun and hoop. And actually, I don't give a F about him more. I don't care about him no more. I don't care what he got to say to me. You're not playing me. So I'm just going to hoop. And I used practices. I used warm-ups to hoop. There, layup line. I'm out there. Coach would be like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm doing me. Because not like you putting me in this game. Well, lo and behold, one of the starting guards, he gets hurt. And all of a sudden, he's looking down the bench. He's looking at this other guy, because I was a little bit older. He looks at this other guy who's acting all immature. He's like, man, I don't want to go with him either. I need to bring in somebody who look at me. I'm not even thinking he's going to call me. He called me in. I'm like, all right, never. I go in there and hoop. Drop 12 on him. Next game, drop 14 on him. All of a sudden, coach is like, oh, who's this dude? Sometimes you got to get to a point where, and this is the point of that little segue. Sometimes you got to get to the point where you're just like, I don't care. No. I'm going to do me. I'm going to hoop. I know what you're asking me to do. You want me to facilitate. But I'm going to play my game. And I think that's what Sasser is figuring out. Okay, you want me to facilitate and get this ball around, but I got to get to a point where I do me. I got to get to a point where I'm hooping. I'm enjoying myself. I can't just be this robot only doing XXXY L1 like I'm not a creative player. I'm not a player on your NBA Live that you're controlling. I'm a human being. I'm a hoop. And I think when he figures that out, he's gonna be so cold. He's gonna be so cold. I think he's figuring out right now, the first third of the season, how to be a facilitator, which is a real skill that I didn't garner till later on. Um, uh, and I could do that in college, but I was a scorer at heart. I think Sasser the same. He's figuring that out. I can facilitate, but I'm a scorer at heart, and his team needs it. His team needs it, and that's probably the most important takeaway from this game against Brooklyn. He scored out of necessity. They needed those threes to continue to stymie the comeback from the Brooklyn Nets, so that Cade Cunningham could stay and rest up because they were going to have a back-to-back. He scored out of necessity. And I want to see JB Bickerstaff encourage that more and more. Like, hey, and I'm going to be honest, I've been saying this. The moment Sasser passes the ball to initiate the offense, the moment it looks bogged down, the moment it looks like it's slowing, guys can't figure themselves out, he needs to go get that ball. In fact, they need to tell Stu, go set a screen for Marcus Sasser. They need to tell whoever else is in there with him, Paul Reed, Ron Holland, go set a screen. I think Cool made a point on his latest on said Sasser would be dead if they just let him loose. Yeah, and just let him be the shot creator. That way he could just do his thing. Totally true. Totally true. I do think they facilitator because I think if he was a shot, I call these guys shot chuckers at the beginning of them for a reason. Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, Simone Fontecchio, these guys are shooters. A shooter. They are going to shoot. That's their game. That's what they do. But here's the thing. They're also not getting involved. And what ends up happening is now everyone is just chucking the ball because they know if I give it up, I'm not getting it back. Malik Beasley's not giving it back. Tim Hardaway Jr. is not back. Neither is Simone Fontecchio. They're looking to score. Either they're going to get their shot off or they're going to pump fake and drive to the rim. And I think that's a part of the scheme for JB Bickerstaff. That's how he's creating spacing around Cade. That's how he's creating spacing around Durant. Harris. That's how he's orchestrated this offense. I want my shooters to shoot and look for their shot, strong and confident all the way. And then the rest of the guys, you're going to eat around, create space for you within this system. Sasser has to figure out the balance. Once I give it up to these guys, if they don't have it immediately, I go get it back. In fact, what they need to start doing, these shooters, these veterans, and this is the tough part, these veterans are also in contract years, so I can't be mad at them. They're actually here to say, look, I'm trying to ball out so I can extend my career. People may not realize the NBA is as talented as ever. There's shooters coming in all day, nonstop. You have to hold yourself down. You have to. Nobody's going to make it happen for you. Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley are here because they believe in themselves and they're betting on themselves and looking to get their shot off. Marcus Sasser has to gain that confidence with them to say, hey, you know what? You may not get the shot, but you can get an assist giving me the ball. In fact, you can set a screen for me. We could do a little rub screen action. If they're worried about me, now you get to slip that screen, bow, and you're open at the rim. Right? These are things, but he's got to be confident because those guys aren't going to give it up to him if he's not confident. Cam Thomas, shorter, hyper. Yep, Brunson as well. Yeah, I think he could be a Cam Thomas. I think Cam Thomas is actually a good comparison for him. Cam Thomas is a bucket. He is a bucket. He's the definitive bucket getter. Like drop him anywhere for his whole career. He's Lou Williams. He's these guys who just understands naturally. You're out. They can hit threes from whatever. Leverage your quickness and good stuff. Yeah, no, facts. When they learn how to leverage that jump shot, and you see it even with like Simone Fontecchio, and I wanted to get to him anyhow in this game against Brooklyn. Simone Fontecchio was nice out there. He was out there like real talk. He knew how to find the balance between hunting his shot and exploiting the hard closeouts to be able to get to the rack and finish. He missed a few finishes, but you could tell that he was working on. Right? I don't know if he got to a NBA game before. These guys put in real work to say, I'm looking for this particular shot. Right? And that's what good ball players do. Even though the size does create some defensive issues, Sasser is so much feistier on defense. Yeah, he is. They Cam Thomas. I love Marcus Sasser's defense. I think we saw against Portland, he was frustrating the hell out of those guys. Anthony Simon, Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson. It didn't matter who put on him. They had to set screens to get Sasser off of him. He has no center of gravity, great lateral mobility. He's got a good wingspan, so he can get his hands on a loose dribble. He was able to get deflection. He did the same. Honestly, he may end up being lightweight, kind of like a Dennis Schroeder. I don't think he's as good a facilitator as Dennis Schroeder. I'm gonna pause on that because I think that's a very good comparative outlook for Marcus Sasser, Dennis Schroeder. If you watch Dennis Schroeder as a master in the pick and roll, I don't think Sasser has that level of mastery in the pick and roll because Schroeder came out of the Euro international game where you learn those nuances a little bit earlier. But I remember last season, Marcus Sasser was a master in the pick and roll running with Duran and Stu. He was able to get to his spot, especially when he was shooting that little 15-footer. Man, and this is a point that I wanted to make. This team is nowhere near its best ball. And that's one thing I want to talk about for the rest of this. This Detroit Pistons team is nowhere near its best basketball at all. Cade is playing. I mean, if his peak is let's say a 10, he's somewhere at an 8.9 to 9.6 consistently. I think the only thing that Cade has to work on right now is like I said at the beginning, being intentional about when he's scoring and how he's scoring. He can get any type of shot, and this is the remark made on Twitter in Spaces that he can get any type of shot he wants, like a SGA. But the great scorers recognize that the efficiency that shoots them through the roof is when they know how to get to the shots they want when they want it, so that they can maximize their impact on the game. Maximally efficient. Cade Cunningham sometimes is still in any shot that is a good quality shot for him, but sometimes he gets it blocked. Sometimes he gets stuck under the rim. Sometimes he's over dribbling. Sometimes it's too random. But that's splitting hairs at this point. Cade is great. All to say is this team is nowhere near its maximum. Isaiah Stewart, if you watched him from last season, where's that Isaiah Stewart? Who's getting the ball in the post, hooks, shooting the threes on the outside, pick and roll. I say he's about at 80%. Right? He still has some more. I think he can stand to consistently shoot 1 to 2 more a game. He should be somewhere around 3 threes a game. You look at it from Tekio, barely finding his rhythm. Tim Hardaway Jr., barely starting to be consistent, which we've been waiting on. Malik Beasley, he's been at about 90% capacity. But you look at other guys, Tobias Harris is barely finding his rhythm. Barely. But when Tobias Harris is it makes the game so much easier for the rest of the team. If you've noticed, when Tobias Harris is rolling, Cade's outlook is, oh, this is a cakewalk. Because you got to worry about these shooters. And you got to worry about Tobias Harris getting into his bag, into the free throw line, exploiting mismatches. He is a mismatch, which is why he's always been paid well. At 6'9", with about a 7'1", 7'2" wingspan, 235, 240 pounds, you can put the floor. He's a very smart, intelligent player, knows how to get to his spots, like a Chris Middleton light. He's not as much of a killer as Chris Middleton, but he's just shy, you know. But it's to say that Tobias Harris, when he's in a role and he eats, he makes the game so easy for Cade Cunningham. That elevates him. Jalen Duren is finally not getting into foul trouble. So he gets into his rhythm better. So he plays better defense. They have better perimeter containment. Right? So Duren's spot, not getting into foul trouble, showing he can knock down free throws, attacking other bigs off the dribble. Marcus Sasser, I could keep going. Ron Holland. There is so much more for this team to grow into, which really makes this season exciting. That they've been able to win the last 5 games, 8 of the last 10. And now they've got a back-to-back against the Golden State Warriors. And this is one of the true litmus tests for a really good team is how do you dispose of the teams that are struggling? The bad teams. These teams that just, and if I'm honest, no team is a bad team because it's the NBA. Everyone's talented. But it's to say there are teams that are trying to tank. There are teams that are disoriented like the Golden State Warriors, right? The coach has kind of lost the locker room. Can't seem to motivate any. The stars are kind of checked out where things are not working and there's no fix. You got too many new guys who are trying to acclimate and adjust, and they just don't know how they're going to navigate this thing. And so the team is kind of in. How do you get those teams out of there? If you're not coming in here ready to go, you don't stand a chance. That's what good teams do. And the team that's above them in the Eastern Standing, the Indiana Pacers, that's really who the Pistons need looking at because they're playing the brand of basketball the Pistons should be looking to model. I'm not saying that the actual style, they have different players, but the consistency, the consistency. Each night, you know what that team is going to bring. Each night, they know that they can have a chance to beat anybody. And in order for you to beat them, you have to play at a level that is above us. And if you can't, you're going to lose. Detroit, an opportunity to start showing that they're that type of team as well. You know they're going to battle you on defense. And that's one thing that they're learning how to do, come out consistently with high energy on defense, not just against great teams, but against anyone. How do you come out with that edge? The next part is how do we begin to consistently play a brand of basketball? And this kind of has more to do with Jalen Duren. And then you have other guys. How do we show up and not just play our brand of basketball, but play our best, my best? What is my game? What am I trying to get to? And that's what we're looking for this team to show us. Because if they can, if Marcus Sasser, Tim Hardaway Jr., these guys start becoming more consistent, Tobias Harris continues to be consistent, starts knocking down his shots, right? If this team can start being consistent at doing what we already know they can do, this is a playoff team. This is a playoff team. Miami, I think, is going to fall. I think that ship is sailed. I think they've already clocked in the season. They're like, hey, we're done. The Chicago Bulls have already dropped beneath the Detroit Pistons. I think the teams that are above them, and let me be clear, really looking at this standing, I think Detroit is probably going to get as high as the seventh seed, barring some other major injury. Barring a major injury. You guys let me know what you guys think in the chat. But barring any major injury, I don't see this team getting above the seventh seed because Cleveland, Boston, New York, Orlando, Milwaukee, Indiana, and you might say they beat Orlando. That's true. They beat Orlando. But Orlando plays a grade of basketball. It's just a little bit more, has a little bit more edge. Defensively, they have that allows them to beat teams a little bit more consistently. I think they're just going to out them. And as Paulo Banchero comes back, Franz Wagner comes back, Jalen Suggs comes back, this team's only going to elevate. Milwaukee, I think they've righted their ship enough to where they're going to consistently keep winning. They're going to stay in the playoffs. And then Indiana, I think they're a surefire team. The real thing is, let's get into this play-in. Like, I'm Orlando has a defensive culture and routinely adds high-level defensive role play. That's 100. 100%. I said this past offseason, I said the dream, and you could check old videos, the dream offseason pickup would have been Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. That would have been the guy. Now, if they had JB Bickerstaff last season, and the season they're having this season last season, that would have been enough. There was no way KCP was coming to the Detroit Pistons, even though he played with them before with Stan Van Gundy. And I think he played with Tobias Harris as well. I got to check. There's a good chance that they played in Detroit together. Somebody check that in the for me and let me know. Was that the Blazers game? No, I wasn't at the Blazers game, but I was watching that thing. It was a great game. It was a great game. But it's to say that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was the type of guard that they to bring in over Tim Hardaway Jr. Plus, KCP is having a down year because they're lacking offensive engine. Completely true. Completely. KCP playing next to a Cade Cunningham through the roof. I'm gonna be honest. I might do a video. I'm gonna do some videos later on. I'm gonna do some videos later on about this upcoming offseason. Aside from extending Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren now, because I think Duren's only going to get better, and extending him now is going to save you a lot of money. Jaden Ivey now, before he's an all-star, is going to save them a lot of money. I think they're both going to be worthwhile investments. But then I think if they could bring back a guy like Quentin Grimes, I'm going to be honest. Malik Beasley has been awesome. I don't think he's going to be this good in the next 3 years. I just don't. I don't think Malik Beasley is going to be this good in the next 2 to 3 years. And I say that because his role will be significantly smaller. As Ron Holland gets better, continues to find his shot, he's going to have a bigger role. He's going to have a much bigger role. Asar Thompson's going to have a bigger role. Jaden Ivey's going to have a bigger role. Cade Cunningham's going to be all NBA. Marcus Sasser is going to have a bigger role. And when you start looking at bigger roles and you're getting less shots, what can you do? And that's why I like Quentin Grimes. Beasley is doing a lot for us right now. Yeah, kind of like Fontecchio did for us last year. Now Beasley is a huge locker room presence. He is, not 100%. I'm not knocking that at all. What I am saying is that I don't think he's going to be as valuable tomorrow as he is today. So when you're thinking about the offseason, re-signing guys for the future, you may want to find somebody who can do multiple things. And that's why I liked Quentin Grimes. I understand if he wanted to go to Dallas and say, I want to play for something right now. I want to be on a winning team. That's what winners do. I love that energy. A winner should say, I want to go to someplace that I have a chance to win and play a major role. And he literally beat out Jaden Hardy for his role on the team. Jaden Hardy was the man who beat out Josh Green, who got sent to Charlotte in the Pistons deal. Jaden Hardy was supposed to be that dude, that third guard off the bench. Quentin Grimes came in and was like, no, it's me. There's a reason why Tom Thibodeau trusts him. One of the most distrustful coaches in the NBA trusted Quentin Grimes. Top recruit coming out of high school, didn't do well at Kansas. Like here's kind of the issue you run into with Beasley, overlap with Ivey as a pure offensive two guard. Totally true. Beasley does overlap a lot of the other skills. And as Ivey starts shooting more threes, Tobias Harris's three-point shooting starts dropping. Fontecchio, when everyone else is hitting, do you really need Beasley as much? That becomes the question. Do you really need him to the same extent? And like I said, I don't think his value tomorrow will be what it is today. But as always, I want to know what you all think about this team. What do you think about the outlook? I know that they're on a great run right now. I think they got the Golden State Warriors tonight. I'm actually looking forward to seeing how they come out in this game. If they could come out with great energy, I think they'll have an opportunity to knock off the State Warriors and keep this run going and get to 20-18. Can y'all believe that? Can y'all believe that this team is 20-18 after starting off the season with a 4-game losing? About to be 2018. If your entire shooting guard rotation of the future is like 35 to 50 million on like three largely offensive twos, I think not really getting much diversity there. No, that's totally true. That's totally true. You don't want to jinx it. I got you, Joby. You don't jinx it. They're at that 1918. This will be a great test because you're beating a team that has a superstar. They have the potential to get you. They got Draymond. They got Stephen Curry. I don't know if Kuminga will be playing. I see Asar Thompson come back. I've missed him. Man, that dude, I love seeing him play. He's so disruptive. He's such an incredible player out there. You believe in those old school jinxes. The young fans don't know those old ways. Hey, that's true. That's true. I don't jinx them. Hey, knock on wood. Knock on wood. Um, I think they can get the win. I know they can. Playing at home, it is on a back to back. And I believe the Golden State Warriors played. They didn't play. They actually got a day off, and they lost to the Miami Heat. They got trounced by the Miami Heat, which was, I mean, that just has to be a terrible taste in the mouth. They're likely going to come ready, ready in Detroit. But like I said, uh, they still don't have a coach that they've bought into, um, and they're still figuring a lot out. They're going to be, yeah, Golden State Warriors going to come in pissed and ready to go. I don't think that they're going to have more than what Cade Cunningham with Detroit Pistons are. And if they're locked in, and Jalen Duren is going to be a big piece of that. That big man tandem, they have got to outplay Trace Jackson, Kayvon Looney, Draymond Green. They've got to dominate on the boards, stay out of foul trouble, continue to contest at the rim, hold down that center while our guards get off. I think they're going to be able to get their shots off, scoring over Steph. Schroeder shouldn't be that big of a problem. I don't think they have an answer for Cade Cunningham. He should have a dominant performance against Steph. It'll be a great kind of battle of the superstar players that I think Cade Cunningham is really chomping at the bit for. I think Cade is really, he gets up for these games because it gives him an opportunity to really solidify like why he's an all-star. Because I knocked off Durant. I knocked off Anthony Edwards. Right? I've knocked off of Jalen Brunson. I've knocked, this guy, that guy, check off, check off, check off. You can't say nothing to me. Can't say nothing to me. Tyler Harrell knocked him off. All right. All these guys, Tyrese Halliburton knocked him off. Get him out of here. So we'll see tonight. The game's at 4 o'clock. I appreciate y'all staying with me on this live. B, appreciate your comments in the chat. I'm gonna get at y'all after the game. Y'all have a good day. Peace.